Welcome to movie date.
I thought I was doing it.
You go.
Oh, okay. Wait, okay. Wait. Welcome to Movie Date with Jess and Kait. I'm Kait.
Yes.
We're a couple who loves watching movies together, and we're gonna be watching and recapping and discussing movies all through October. We're gonna do horror movies, and Jess picked the first one, and it's 1987 Clive Barker's Hellraiser. And why did you pick that movie?
I just thought we'd start with something cute and
Yeah,
cozy, just
normal.
like us, a little date moment.
Yes.
No, but I mean, we've seen this one a bunch. It's
Yeah.
one of my favorites. It's just always so funny to me because as a kid, I can remember watching the trailer for it when it would come on TV.
Yeah.
Probably for like one of the sequels by the time I was a kid. And you would just like see Pinhead and you would see the chains, and it
Yeah.
just seemed so unbelievably scary that I was like, I will never in my life watch that film. That seems like the scariest thing that you could ever watch.
Yeah, and it is. It still is crazy
It's
to
real
watch.
now. Then when I finally watched it, I was like, oh, this is like really gay. It's
Yeah.
really campy.
Yeah.
It's really silly. There's definitely still like good horror and scares in it, but it just opened like a new world for me, and I think made me fall more in love with horror. Like I liked campy horror, like I love the Addams Family or like
Yeah.
little Tim Burton-y stuff that like dips into it, but it's more whimsical. But like this is, I think, the movie that got me into like horror
Do
movies.
you think that that's a sincere effort on Clive Barker's part, though, to make it? I don't think he was trying to make a campy movie
No,
by any stretch.
I think everything he does is sincere and from his heart. I
Yeah.
think he's like an artist that is just like showing you what is in his mind and
Yeah.
the culmination of all of his influences. Like when I've looked it up, it's about like from Catholicism to like BDSM, like gay clubs in the 80s. And then
Yeah.
like the marriage of those two things just makes for such an original. I guess it's because he is queer and it comes out so much in the films too that it like resonates so much with me because you could just see it.
Yeah.
And I think maybe he's someone who loves like I think maybe when you're gay there is just a natural level of like appreciation for camp. Certainly in these performances, especially
No.
we'll get into it when we recap, but like
Yeah.
I mean Julia is like I think the unsung hero of this movie. I think she's so
Hero? Okay.
I know she's like
I'm on Julia's side 100%.
honestly, I have notes and I write down multiple times that I'm Team Julia. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the story, we'll go into more detail, but an overview is there's this evil box, which I actually have with us, the Lament
It's the
configuration.
real one. Yeah.
This is a Rubik's Cube version that we tried to keep pure, and then my 6-year-old niece came and she was tempted by its powers, so she messed it up, and now we'll never get it back the way it's supposed to be.
5 safest for everyone.
But it's like
That's not solved.
yes, but the box you like open it up and these Cenobites come out.
Yeah.
And hell is raised.
Hell is raised for sure. Yeah.
Yes. What are your thoughts on this film before we get into the recap?
I mean, it was a similar thing. I was like a really little kid when I don't even think it was coming out because 87 was before I was born, but I remember.
But there's so many sequels too.
Yeah, like some
TV.
version of it was coming out probably.
Yeah.
But I really remember, so like on the East Coast, Pathmark is like a grocery store, and they used to have like a section that was like a movie rental section, and they always had Hellraiser.
Yes.
The VHS cover was there, and I was like, same thing. I was like, never in a million years. I was like kind of scared to walk past it almost. Like, I still like would pick it up and look at it and everything because it was like so scary that you can't not pick it up, which I guess is right on theme for this movie itself.
He just looks so original. It's so like there's something like grotesque about it, but then also like romantic and sleek, and also like I just love him.
Yeah, it's a very shiny movie.
Yeah, shiny pins.
Shiny and wet movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's dive in.
Let's do it.
Okay. So this is written and directed by Clive Barker, as we've mentioned. He also wrote, which I think is similar, Candyman. He didn't direct that one. But it has like a very romantic, like lead, and there's like sensuality, but then also grotesque, like bees all up in people's faces. Yeah. So he loves like romance, but nastiness.
Yeah, well, I guess as a gay guy in the 70s and 80s, it must have been such a it must have felt like that where you're doing this thing that, like, society at large found disgusting, but you're seeing you see the beauty of it. Not that, like, it's one to one necessarily, but I'm
Yeah,
sure it was a
yeah.
huge part of it. Where it's like there is these romantic feelings and yeah, sorry, we should recap it, I guess.
No, I love that thought on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and then Pinhead is played by Doug Bradley.
Mhm.
Julia, who we'll learn about, is played by Claire Higgins. Those were the only two I looked up because those are my favorite
That's okay.
performances. I
Yeah.
know the dad is the killer in Dirty Harry.
Okay.
Spoiler.
Great.
Um, and the girl who plays the daughter is in all these other movies,
Yeah, yeah.
the other 20 Hellraiser movies. So we open what?
No, it's just funny because it's like this is we're not film school students and we're not,
Yeah.
you're gonna get the version of us talking about this that's maybe not,
We're two lesbians on a couch with our own life experiences.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's the filter.
And that's what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want more information, there's IMDb, it's out there.
Yeah. Okay, so you want inaccurate information
You came to the
and
right
reading
place.
into it, then you're at the right place. So it opens on a box on a table. We're in this like market in this like unspecified foreign country, which,
Yeah.
And there's a man at the table who's referred to as Mr. Cotton, who we'll see more and more of, and then another man. And the guy says to Mr. Cotton, like, what's your pleasure? That's how the very first line in the film.
Mhm.
And Mr. Cotton wants this box. This box, the lament configuration, as we'll learn, is on the table. And the guy's like, it's yours. It's always been yours. Why do you think he says that? Because he's just always been,
He's like destined, I guess, to do
yeah,
this.
there's
Like
like a level of
if
destiny.
you're like I think the whole thing is like if you're a person with these desires to like go to the extreme, then
The box
you're
will,
destined to reach that kind of degree of extremity.
this watch for the first time, I was like, this box functions very much like the ring in like Lord of the Rings. Because there's times later on we'll see too where like other people have it, and then that's when they see flashes of things that have happened with the box.
Yeah.
Or like it kind of like consumes the person even when you're holding it just in this way.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so it's like the ring for pervs. Uh, we then see he takes the box. We then see him in this like attic area, this like wooden, very like creaky, nasty looking attic. There's like candles all around him, and he has the box in the middle. He's like fussed with it, and when you like fuss with it, it makes what would you call it?
No, that's exactly what I would call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's he's putting it in different configurations.
It's you like solve it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he finally solves it. All these little like blue spermies come out of it.
Uh-huh.
And then he's instantly hooked with this like giant,
Like a chain with a hook on the end
nasty hook.
onto him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's ripped apart.
That's awful.
Yeah, that's bad. I guess that's the whole thing of like it's like this is super extreme version of a BDSM thing where he's torn into pieces.
Yeah.
Into actual like puzzle pieces almost of a face.
A lot of body horror stuff I usually don't like. Maybe because we're about to meet the crew, the Cenobites doing it, that I don't mind because I just love this crew.
Well, it's kind of they keep it's also like very artsy too. Like I think that they had like a not huge budget, but it's like I think that they still achieved a lot with the special effects where
it's all practical.
Yeah, yeah. So they have this like spinning pillar of like body parts nailed to it and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, there's like chains coming from the ceiling. Yeah. It's like a nasty like butcher factory pulling you apart. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we get kind of glimpses of the creatures that come out of this box or summoned by the box, which are the Cenobites.
Yes.
There's and we'll see them closer later, but there's the Chatterer, who's kind of doesn't have any eyes, and his teeth are like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's the freakiest.
He really freaks me out, yeah, because he can't talk.
Because he's just coming at you with his teeth. Could you
There's
imagine?
nothing else he does. That's
There's
his
no
only thing.
reasoning with him.
Yeah.
Like Pinhead talks. I
Yeah.
assume the lady talks.
She does talk. She talks in
There's a
the
lady one who kind of has a wire hanger around her face,
She is
and then her neck is peeled open like a little
It's
vagina.
very vaginal. I was so in the movie she's credited as female Cenobite, but I know, I was writing vagina on my notes to be like, okay,
And this is
and
vagina.
this is vagina. Yeah, Pinhead introduces her. This is my
I want you to
friend.
meet the crew. There's a guy who's just like kind of has a little weight on him, and he has
Butterball is
sunglasses.
what he's
Butterball.
called. Yeah.
He's not so bad. When he takes off his glasses.
Well, he's got like hooks too. Like he's got, and he's constantly like licking his lips very like lasciviously.
At people like that.
Yeah, you. Yeah.
Besides his, when he takes off his glasses, it's revealed that his eyeballs are sewn shut.
Yeah.
But he has his glasses on because he's sensitive about it.
Yeah, if anything, he's the Cenobite I would hang out with
Shy
the most.
one, yeah. He's the Howie of the group.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Lance. Then you see just like the silhouette of the man himself, the leader, Pinhead.
Yeah.
Which he doesn't speak yet.
No.
And this is just a quick glimpse of them. Then we don't see them again for a really long time.
Yeah, for like almost an hour.
Okay, so they come out. He's ripped apart. Cotton's going to hell. We cut to this couple coming into a new house, and the husband's like very perky and kind of dorky, and the wife is just like the most 80s incredible, gorgeous woman you've ever seen. Her eyeshadow is like up to her eyebrows.
She's very
color.
severe. I kept thinking that word severe because her makeup is so sharp and angular, and like even her jewelry throughout the movie is really angular, and her hair is teased up to like here.
And the more evil she gets, the higher it
higher
goes,
and
which
higher.
I love.
Yeah. She looks like the art on an old nail salon.
Yes.
Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous.
So
the prettiest someone could be.
And this place is a real shithole. There's like dirt everywhere.
It looks like there's gotta be
cute and
mold.
quaint. Yeah.
There's gotta be mold in there.
But there's rats running all around. The kitchen still has like food in it. And the goofy husband, who we learn is Larry, and then the wife is Julia.
Yeah.
Larry's like, isn't this great? Don't you love it? And she's like, no, obviously not. This sucks. And he's like, oh, well, come on, just get with it. He sucks.
Yeah, well, he wants to, it seems like they have a strained relationship or something, and it's like they're moving back into this house that he said the old lady died. I don't know if he means like his parent, like his mom or something.
Oh, I thought it was.
He was like, ever since the old lady died 10 years ago. You read the book. Is that in the book?
I did read the book. So the book, it's based on a novella, The Hellbound Heart. I think it was the brother's house, which I guess, spoiler, Mr. Cotton is his brother, Frank.
Yeah. It's fine. You find out like right now.
The only major difference that I can remember from the book and the movie is that instead of the daughter who we're going to meet, it's like a coworker or like a friend's friend. So they don't have a daughter. I think they're a little younger in the book. They're like in their 20s. And this coworker friend, however she's related to them, she's kind of into the husband. And Julia knows this, and she's like, I don't even give a fuck,
Yeah.
or just like,
I'm
I can see it. It's
fuck,
pathetic.
okay.
You're so pathetic. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a stronger choice to me. I think to make it the daughter, I think
it makes more sense. It does make it where like the husband then is just all good and a weenie, as opposed to like reading into it like, oh, well, maybe he's into this girl too. And then there's more like complex, like, oh, I'm not, but we'll get into that. We're getting a little ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
So they go to the house. Julia's not feeling it. She's walking around. She goes up to a bedroom and notices this little sex doll. And then she's like, huh, interesting. Meanwhile, the daughter,
doll, like a little ceramic like figurine.
Oh, sorry, not like a blow
fucking.
Blow up.
A little tiny one. Yeah. For your dashboard.
Your little tiny penis. No, a little tiny ceramic, like
erotic
figurine. Yes. That's Kate knows art, so she can better describe it.
Yeah, erotic figurine.
So she's walking around, she finds the erotic figurine. His daughter shows up, who is not Julia's daughter. This is a stepmom.
Stepmom
And he's
situation.
like, "You're gonna love this shithole house too. Come, let me show you how awful it is." Julia upstairs finds more freaky stuff, and she finds pictures of Frank, all these pictures of him like having sex with different women from like
Yeah.
all over the world.
Yeah.
Um, and at first she seems like it's you can't totally read it, but she comes downstairs and she's like, "Okay, I want to move here now."
Yeah.
So something about this doll and these pictures has changed her mind. She's interested in staying.
Yeah.
They're all moving in. They have like this big mattress. All the movers are like hitting on the daughter. So there's a lot of like,
Well, they do this cool shot of her when you first see her. She just like talks on the phone to the dad for like a second, and she's like, "I don't really want to go there." He's like, "Come on," and then she's like, "Okay," and then you see her walking to the house by the water, and she's got this like flowing shirt, this like flowing white shirt, and then like a brown leather jacket, and seems like she's always wearing like white. She's kind of wearing like flowy stuff. Like I think she's kind of like an innocent person in this movie. But she also is like tough with this leather jacket or whatever. And then she comes to the house for the first time and sees all of these religious like figures. Like Frank had the house full of like all kinds of weird religious statues, like not like that weird or anything. It was like Mary, it's like 10 Mary statues in the trash, and she's like, okay, and like keeps walking in. Like, do you remember that part where
I
she like
noticed
first?
none of this.
Okay.
But this is why I love when we talk about movies together, because I
Yeah.
feel like you notice things that I don't, especially when it comes to like visual things and
Yeah.
what they mean and represent.
Well, yeah, I think she's just like you're seeing this like innocent person. You're also seeing somebody who doesn't like she sees the number of Mary statues in the trash and she's just like, that's weird. So she's not like giving that too much thought, I guess. Like she's not like religious person necessarily. She's not like offended that it's out there. And she's also kind of like, you know, sort of like doesn't mind. And then when she walks in, the two movers do kind of like ogle her, and the one guy's like, "Hey, baby," or whatever he says. And she's just like walks right past him. Like she's kind of like she's not like totally like a babe in the woods, like lost, little lamb or something. She's like has some agency over herself, but she still is like an innocent character, I think. Yeah.
That's incredible. I probably was like thinking about Julia
And you
Schulter
were like,
pants.
Julia, makeup. It's
Okay.
hard not to do that, but I think that the woman who plays Kirsty does do a really good job holding her own in this
Oh
movie that
yeah.
you could really get steamrolled by these other characters. But I think she does a really good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree. So they're moving in. Upstairs, we see Julie with the pictures again, only now she's ripping them, but ripping the images of the women out, so it's just Frank. And then we get
Yeah.
some flashbacks from the past. She's like up in the attic, I think, doing this, or oh no, she's not in the attic yet. She's in the bedroom. She's
Yeah.
finding
Oh,
these.
wait, right before that though, like Kirsty walks in and sees Julia and she's on the stairs and she walks past all the movers or whatever. And she's like, "Hey, where's my dad?" And Julia goes, and floats backwards up the stairs. And Kirsty's just like, okay, like there's nothing she can do. Julia's already off her fucking rocker, so horny.
She's so horned up. She's like,
Yeah,
I can't even function
I'm not
right
even
now.
on this plane of
All I can
existence right
think
now,
about
bitch.
is okay. So wait, so she drew me the picture. She
Yeah,
sees. We have this flashback of she's in this house and it's her wedding day, and this man comes to the door. It's raining. He's covered in all wet,
yeah,
and it's Frank. It's Mr. Cotton,
yeah,
and he's kind of like rude, but she
yeah.
likes it. It's like getting
Immediately,
her
she
off.
immediately is like
Yeah,
her eyes bug out her.
yeah.
Yeah,
She's just
she's
very
all
into
about it.
this.
He's just the polar opposite of his brother.
Yeah, the brother's a weenie. He's a bad boy. He
Mm-hmm.
wants a bad boy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we see there in these flashbacks, there's a moment where, it's obviously progressing, and she's like, what are we going to tell Frank? And then he just like pulls out a switchblade, which is
Yeah.
kind of his, or what are we going to tell Larry? Larry's the husband.
Yeah, Larry's the husband. Yeah.
And Frank pulls out a switchblade and then like just kind of holds it up, which is his signature move. And then he cuts her little nightgown,
Yeah, her
and
strap.
honks her titty, and she's just
Honks it. She's like, honk it, Frank.
Honk it before
Honk
my
me,
husband
baby.
goes home. Then
Larry never honks me like you.
then we see the wedding dresses on the bed. They
literally fuck on top of her wedding dress. It's like you get some little bit of symbolism there.
So it must be the wedding day, because why else would you have it on the bed?
I don't know, because they're pervs and they want to fuck
She
on
put
top
it up
of it.
there.
Either she's gonna get either it's her wedding day or they're like, it'd be really fucked up.
Yeah, and she would love
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I love her. Meanwhile, okay, so she's upstairs just like,
fantasy.
all by herself, fucking losing it. Larry's helping the movers like with the mattress. He can't quite get it up the stairs. And then in like the foreground, or what is that, closest to you, see this giant nail sticking out of the wall.
And this is happening, cutting back and forth between the nail getting closer to Larry's hand, and then in the flashback, Julia fucking Frank. And it's kind of going back and forth until finally Larry's hand hits the nail and it rips the fucking shit out of his hand.
Yeah.
And then he starts screaming and bleeding. And he goes upstairs to show Julia.
You would hate that.
I would pass out right away.
No one would like it.
Nobody would love it. I would really dislike it. I just would probably I would have to sit right down, and then it would pass right out. Aww. And then it would
that happened once when we first moved into our apartment. We were unpacking things, and Kate got sliced by like a little blender.
It was a food processor blade, and it fell directly onto my leg, and I saw it go right into my leg. And we had been moving stuff, and I was sweating all day. And then I was also like, I saw it fall in, and my first thought was, I don't have health insurance. And then the next thing I remember is being on the floor, and you were like,
Tyler! So scared. I've never seen someone pass out before, and I just saw your eyes, and then you just like, what? And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But you're okay now.
I'm fine.
And no Cenobites came to get you. So that's
not yet.
Good. Not yet.
Once we solve the box.
Okay, so he then comes into the room. His hand is just like gushing blood.
Yeah.
She's like, we just got to go to the hospital. The blood gets on the attic floor.
Yeah.
Which is where the ceremony that Frank did earlier, we realized the room looks like exactly the same. So the blood, like almost like a reverse shot, like you see it kind of like meld into the floor. They do
such cool shit with just reversing the film in this movie.
Yeah.
This is the first one where, it's like they probably had a little hose or something like making blood gush up. But this one, it's like they do it in reverse, so it looks like the floor is just drinking his blood. And then it goes to underneath, we kind of like pan underneath the floor, and the viscera and like veins and stuff are starting to form, and we can see the outline of Frank's heart, and it's
like a little balloon.
Yeah, it's like, just like barely starting. It's like a papery thin.
Yeah, they're gone. They don't see any of this.
Yeah, they don't see this shit.
Then below the floor. Just like a skeleton arm shoot out of the floorboard, then another one, but they're not quite like skeleton, like a Halloween store. Like they're all filled with like goo and jizz and a little bit of muscle here and there.
Yeah, it's very, and all of this must be
toes grow out of his feet.
Yeah. Well, yeah, his like he's got like stubs, and then just like his spinal column and like brain stem are sticking out, and he's sort of like lifting himself up. And that's got to be the way that it like forms. It's got to be like a melted wax figure. They've shot it melting, and then they show it reversed to get this really cool effect of it like
it's incredible.
It's so
practical effects are so much better.
You really do. It's like we're suspending our disbelief already to watch a movie, so it's like this part of it
won't age because it's stylized. Like it looks great.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Versus like 3D thing that'll just, in a couple years, then a new version comes out and our eye adjusts to
Adjust,
it, and then
yeah.
the old stuff looks like shit.
Yeah.
So Frank's back. Now we cut to a dinner party. They've come back from the hospital. He's all okay. Larry's telling a story.
Larry's telling the story about how he got the nail in his hand.
Yeah, Julia could care less.
Yeah.
She's not, I think I wasn't even paying attention. I was so Julia.
Yeah.
She's just like, when can I go up and look at my pictures?
I am gonna go rub a picture of Frank against my vagina.
So she excuses herself. She leaves.
Oh, they're all smoking at the dinner table too. I was like, 80s, man.
Yeah.
They're all smoking.
We used to smoke. I used to smoke.
Yeah. Yeah. Bad for you.
Bad for you. Bad.
Yeah.
Oh, well, then you can tell us. So there's one boy at the party, man, somewhere in between, not yet a girl, not yet a woman, young adult man. Kirsty, the daughter's there.
It turns out his name is Steve, which they don't tell you right away. Like, you don't find out his name is Steve until like hours.
In all of my notes, he was just the Sig swallower.
I wrote
until the
weenie.
last. He's a Sig swallowing weenie up until the last like 5 minutes, and she's like, Steve.
Yeah.
So spoiler. But he's sitting at the dinner table smoking. Kirsty's kind of like eyeing him up, like cutie boy. He puts the cigarette in his mouth.
He does like a little bar
and
trick.
then puts it back out.
Yeah.
And he's done. That's it. She's
like, God, he's funny.
Have you ever pulled that move?
Hell no. Absolutely not.
I would burn my mouth.
I would burn the fuck out of my. I would probably and like swallow it.
I could barely smoke when I smoked. I was like, it's like just. I very much wanted to look.
You could do it. You could do it.
I'll try again.
Yeah, it's cool.
I'll pick it back up.
I mean, it's cool looking. You can't argue with that. And then,
but Julia's back up in the attic, and then she sees this skeletal being of Frank that has come to life, like skeleton, but very like, almost like when Voldemort's coming like back.
Yeah, he's like a diminished
version
of what he's gonna be. He's very weak and he's small.
And he's like, Julia! And she looks at him and he goes, don't look at me!
Don't look at me!
Don't say my name and be a sack of bones.
It's like the craziest thing you've ever seen in your life, and it screams, don't look at me at you.
Then he still chat with her and he screams at her again. Don't look at me!
Don't look at me!
But he explains the blood brought him back and he's going to need more blood, that she's got to go get him some blood. And she's like on the fence about this. She's not entirely sure.
It's like the more blood you spill, the more flesh I'll
Exactly. I'm going to eat it up. Then I'm going to be your man again. And then we can make
And I'm going to lay it on you just like the olden times.
And
she was
get out the wedding dress.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Christy and the Sig swallower, they leave the party. He's like walking her home, or they're like walking down the street together. She's shit talking Julia, what like a bitch she is, and she can't stand her. And then we see this unhoused person.
The credits call him derelict. Derelict.
I've seen this movie multiple times. I did not remember this character at all.
No, me neither.
And by the end, I thought, oh, nothing ever came of him. And then
the end.
And then the end happens. We'll get to it. But so he's kind of spying on him.
Yeah.
And just looking from the corner, but nothing really happens. They're in like
I think the thing that happens to show him, not just as like foreshadowing, but like to see how Kirsty reacts to him, I think is like why that happens there. She's not scared of him. Like she kind of she clocks him and sees him looking at her, and he's got these like blue eyes and he's like looking at her like this. But she kind of just like continues walking with Steve, and then they go into a like walkway or like subway entrance, and it's
nasty.
So gross, and they kiss there.
Yeah. But that's Clive Barker. He likes a gritty, nasty place.
I guess that's romance can. Well, I'm sure in the 80s, I'm sure you're going to public bathrooms at night to find like dudes to fuck or something.
Yeah.
You know. Just probably was like part of it, and it's like this is the environment where, you know, that
I love it.
Horns me up.
Wait, where are we?
Oh, then she has a dream.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
She has a dream where it's
There's
like
like feathers.
there's feathers
floating in the
falling.
air. She's in a room with lots of candles again.
She
You
sees a
gotta have the
it's
ambiance
beautiful. And then there's a white sheet covering a small bed or table
with like a figure underneath.
with a figure of body underneath, and then the feathers are landing on it, and then blood starts soaking up through that. It turns completely red, and she pulls the cover, and then the body like sits up, and it's her screaming father.
Yeah.
It's
Like clearly
Larry.
dead in pain.
He's in
Yeah.
pain, and he's like fucked up.
Something ain't right. She
Yeah.
calls him up. She's like, "Are you okay? I had this bad dream." He's just being a doofus like always.
It's the middle of the night, but he takes it pretty well. He's like, "I'm fine, sweetie. Thank you. You know, whatever." But so it shows too that their relationship is like nice.
Yeah.
You know, he woke her up and he's like, "Whatever. Yeah, I'm fine." And then the next thing I wrote is Julia's black and gold shirt outfit.
Okay, so this is when Julia has decided that she is going to help, or I guess she's still figuring it out, but her body's taking her to go do it, and we'll see how far she gets with it.
Yeah.
Leaves the house in this gorgeous outfit.
Yeah.
Goes to this like hotel looking bar.
Yeah.
First man instantly picks him up because of course she easily, and it's the most believable thing.
It's not even hard.
She
to
can
do.
get any
Hair's
she wants
up to here, teased up.
Brings him back to the place.
Yeah.
And clearly she's like, she's a little anxious.
Yeah, she's
I think maybe not sure if she's still going to go through with this or what she's doing, but feels compelled to do it.
Yeah.
She's very conflicted.
When she hesitates too, the guy's like, "You're not going to fucking back out of this, are you?" Or like some shit like that. And then audiences, and then we were like, he could go.
It's time to go.
It's time.
He takes off his little, they're in the attic.
And then, yeah, she takes him up to the attic room.
No bed?
No bed. And she's like, "We don't need a bed."
Yeah, along with the mattress, too. The mattress going up the stairs. There's no bed there. It's like
Yeah, yeah. Well, I guess it's not really a place that's hospitable. It's like just an empty, dirty, wet room.
With rats.
With rats all the time.
Oh, yeah, the rats watched him come to life, and they were like,
yeah, they're like,
the fuck?
Yeah, so they get up to that room. He starts to take his pants off.
His pants off. He has little tighty whities on.
Yeah.
And he realizes
he's shorter than her too. I was like, this casting is interesting too, to have like it's basically like also dealing with like masculinity, I guess, where it's like his height difference. I was like, I'm sure that's intentional too. And then he's
the hair's so high. Try find someone taller.
Well, that's true, actually. Yeah. That's true. She's very tall.
So he goes to
not that I like, short kings, we support them and everything. I'm just saying for like in the 80s, it would have been like the casting would have been intentional. And I think as a contrast to how she sees Frank.
Yeah, I've dated shorter guys.
Okay. Hard not to.
Yeah, that's true. We're both 5'10".
Yeah.
Well, I think you're 5'11", but we're both tall ladies. Our dances, like I couldn't wear heels, or I had to have.
And you have hair.
Funny.
My hair is flat. My hair makes me an inch shorter.
That's beautiful.
Okay.
No,
thanks.
Not should.
Yeah.
All right. Who was killing him?
The hell?
Oh, so he goes to the little boy's room. It's very out of nowhere, very just bludgeons him with. Did you catch what it was?
A hammer.
Okay,
she picks up a hammer
with a hammer.
And they show him fall to the ground and show his broken teeth. And I was like, God, that's horrible.
Nasty. Then Frank has got to get to eating. Frank shows up.
He crawls.
Like, don't look at me.
Yeah, don't look at her.
Don't look at him while he's eating.
Don't look at me while I'm eating.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. It's as gross.
Don't
look at me.
Eats him up, gets more muscles,
and
now we see him like now what was skeleton is now covered in even more muscle. He's looking more like a humanoid version of himself.
Big
you can still like see his rib cage. And he's like, okay, about 2 or 3 more of these, and then I'll be good to go before the Cenobites come.
Blood you spill is more flesh for my bones. And then he says, "Come to daddy.
Come to daddy.
Come to daddy."
Yeah. His catchphase. Well, he says that again. I have that later.
And then Larry is looking for her, and he's like calling to Julia, and he's like, he gets to the door and it's like locked or something, and he's like, "Do you want a cookie, little girl?" he's got a cookie for her. So it's like, you really see the difference in approach of these two
Oh, yeah,
men.
yeah.
Where he's like a silly goofball, and like Larry, like Frank is like exuding sex and
Yeah.
whatever, even as a skinless being.
Well, because
She's like, oh, fuck yeah. And Larry's like, do you want that cookie?
when he's like, get 2 or 3 more, at first she's a little like, I don't know. Then he sticks his little gooey fingers in her mouth, and she's like,
Yeah,
I'm
she's like,
in. I love this. I love
yeah,
your sticky, gooey fingers.
seductively. And then we hear about the Cenobites, Larry finally talks about the Cenobites.
Yes, he
He's
just
like,
says it at first, or he goes into detail about it.
he like kind of he gives you the gist.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, the Cenobites did this to me, and yeah, and like sort of like he went to hell, I guess.
Oh, but in between that, Kirsty is at her work. She works at a pet store.
Yeah.
The unhoused man comes in, doesn't speak, sticks his hand in a bunch of bugs.
Crickets. Yeah.
They're covered in bugs, and then he eats
starts eating.
And she's like, "You gotta go."
Yeah, yeah.
Then the sig swallow.
Although crickets are the future of protein for people.
Oh, okay.
They don't require a lot of water.
So he's ahead of his time.
We're gonna all be eating bugs in 10 years. We're gonna
We had a cricket together.
Yeah, we've eaten a bunch of crickets.
Yeah, I've had one.
We've been asked to leave the pet store.
I think you've done most of that. If we're
like,
saying
get out of here
in the we,
yeah,
I'd say it's 1% to 99%.
They serve them with like mezcal and stuff like that in some places, and then
that's where we had it. It had a mezcal tasting.
It tasted really good. It had like the seasoning, and then this guy that I used to work with had a big bag of them and was eating them, and I was like, well, can I try one? And it was just like a Frito. It tasted like a Frito. Hey, and then,
you could have finished.
Sorry, yeah.
So he
leaves. You want to split one?
But back at the house, then that's when Frank goes in.
He like vanishes though.
Yeah.
She's like, get out of here. And then he like vanishes, like literally vanishes. And then it cuts to, Julia's bringing home the next John or whatever, the next dude to slurp up, for Frank to slurp up.
Okay, so then Julia's bringing home more guys.
Yeah.
Frank's getting stronger. At one point, he's like smoking a cigarette. He's like, I love it.
I know. That's how good cigarettes are. Even you don't even have skin and you're like, you know what I could really go for? I skin at some point a cigarette right now.
What's really nasty is he has a white t-shirt on, but
and the blood's like going through it.
Sure. Which kind of spoiler for the second movie. That Julie's no, it's a big spoiler.
Yeah, yeah.
She just has another great outfit on.
Yeah.
That's white and it's
gorgeous.
Okay, allude to it. But so then he shows her the box at this point. This is when she touches it and she gets a flash of like seeing the Cenobites torturing him.
Yes. Yeah, that's when you really see it. Also, I wrote here, Julia, hair bigger than ever, red nails, makeup, sharp point earrings like razors.
Well, her earrings are stars at one point.
Oh,
so
cool.
5 points. Maybe one of the pointiest.
So pointy.
Yeah.
And I guess sort of celestial. Like there's all kinds of, theme wise or whatever.
Reading a lot into that.
I think Clive Barker is reading into it. I think Clive Barker is like more points on the earrings. Like I think he thinks about it like that. He's an artist,
Larry and Julia are watching TV, they're watching boxing. Usually she doesn't go for this kind of stuff, but now she's so desensitized, which is kind of how I feel watching horror stuff now too. I used to get so scared, and now nothing really affects me.
Now I'm just at 0 all the time.
Larry hears a noise upstairs. Julia knows that this is
before that, Larry is like, oh, we don't have to watch boxing. Like, I know it makes you sick. And she's like, I've seen worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like she used to be squeamish and now she's just like, she's killed people at this point.
Like me.
Yeah, that's nice. And then, he hears something upstairs. He wants to go and she's trying to stop him. And it's like thunderstorming. So there's all kinds of like crazy lightning going off. Larry goes up. There's no Frank. He says it's probably a rat. And then it cuts to, Larry doesn't see it, but there are rats nailed to the wall.
Yeah. That's freaky. He didn't have to do that. What does that have to do with getting more skin on your bones.
Do you think that Frank is just
I think he's
bored up there and he's just like, you know what? I'm a real freak. I'm gonna nail a rat to the
I
wall.
guess that's what it is, but
It's just
it's
gross.
rude and gross
Yeah.
for sure. Um, so so then she, to try to distract him from like going up and
Try to
inspecting
distract
more,
Larry.
Seduces Larry.
Yeah, she's like,
And
let's
they're
throw
like
a
in
bone.
bed together.
Mhm.
Oh, because she goes up, yeah, there's nothing there. Then when they go to the bedroom, you see like little legs go across the camera, or adult man-sized legs.
Yeah.
They're in bed, and then through the crack of the closet door, you can see, and she's kind of
Frank.
looking around too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she is like lying back. Larry's fully like, like doesn't
Yeah.
notice. Yeah, and then Frank comes out of the closet and he holds a rat and he takes out his signature switchblade. And then like a hoagie, he cuts the rat in half long
And he's
ways.
like, that's gonna
And he's
be
like,
you.
that
That's
and
so, like,
she's like, ah, like she starts screaming, like, no, I can't stand it.
and then Larry's like, "What's your problem? You're the
Yeah.
one who wanted to get it on."
Yeah.
Which isn't nice of him. He should have said, "That's okay if you're not in the mood right now.
Yeah.
Um, we can do this another time."
Yeah. And then Larry, it cuts to Larry and Kirsty, his daughter, at dinner at a restaurant.
This part was crazy.
Yeah, this movie is crazy.
But Larry says to Kirsty, he's telling him all of the like issues that he's having with Julia, with his wife.
Yeah.
That like things were bad in Brooklyn. They did this move to try to make things better. They're even worse. So you go talk to her, and because maybe she just needs someone to talk
Like
to.
woman to woman kind of a thing, I guess. But it's like
You're her husband.
this is so
You talk to
inappropriate.
her.
Yeah.
Very inappropriate. Clearly they don't get along. Larry's not like paying attention.
Yeah.
So Kirsty is like, okay, sure, dad. She goes, we cut to one afternoon. She goes there. She sees Julia bringing home one of these guys.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God, it must be an affair. That's why she's like acting so weird.
Yeah.
Julia brings them upstairs. She can hear like screams, which I'm assuming Kirsty thinks is like moans from like a lover or something.
Yeah.
But we of course know that someone's getting killed upstairs. She goes up.
As Kirsty's walking up, Julia like leaves the room, like sees her from the top of the stairs and like slinks into another room. And then Kirsty walks into the like attic room and sees the man dying, and he's saying like, or he like bursts out of the door and he's like, help me, and he's all like depleted, like he looks like his soul got sucked out of his body, which I guess it kind of did.
Yeah.
His like essence, like we saw Frank like jam his fingers into this guy's neck.
Nasty. Frank then comes out, reveals himself, and he's like, it's Uncle Frank.
Yeah.
You remember me. Come to daddy. His catchphrase.
Beautiful. There's nothing to be afraid of, said my skinless Uncle Frank.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's like all over her. She is thinking fast, puts her hands in his guts.
Yeah.
He drops the box, I think. Or how does she get? Because then at that time she runs away, but she grabs the box.
She's like trying to kind of scramble around and reaching for anything to help her. And then she picks up the puzzle box and he finally is like, whoa, 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 time out. And then she chucks it out the window.
Yeah.
And he's like, no. And then
because he can't go outside. He's like confined to the attic.
So she runs out. And then when she's outside, she grabs the puzzle box. Nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. She grabs the box and runs away. And then she's just walking down the street. She's like totally fucked up. She's got like 1,000-yard stare. Her shirt has blood all over it. She's got the puzzle box. And she walks past two nuns who don't say anything to her. They just watch her like, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the church, they didn't help her do shit.
Well, you're super
They
Catholic,
didn't say, are you okay?
so you pick up on all that.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Catholic you gotta be. It's like the nuns just watch her and like are judgmental. And I guess that's nuns for you.
That's nuns for you.
Typical
none of it.
Yeah, she keeps walking.
She passes out. Oh, she's getting flashes from holding the box. She's seeing like stuff with Frank and all like just nasty
and
shit.
She passes out on the street and like then like strangers come up and they're like, are you all right? Yeah. And then she wakes up
in a hospital bed. Mm-hmm.
Well, we see these cool like blossoming red flowers and then that kind of like zooms out and it's on the TV that the nurse is watching in the hospital room.
Yeah. What do you think the flowers meant?
The flowers, like, blossoming and stuff? I don't
That she's
know.
about to get dirty?
I guess because they show the flower a lot. It's, like, the only thing on TV. It's just, like, this close-up of a flower blossoming and then, like, shrinking, and there's, like, white ones and red ones.
Yeah.
Um, so maybe, like, her kind of, getting dragged into this whole thing,
Yeah.
sort of a thing, where she has to, like,
The
acknowledge
buds of
the
her own interest in this, like her sexual blooming with it.
I guess she is kind of, 'cause
'Cause they
she's
show
starting
her
to go on a date with Steve.
well, and they show her going home with him, but when she wakes up from that bad dream, he's sleeping on the floor and she's in bed. So
That's
they
right.
kinda show that they, like, didn't sleep together.
Yeah, yeah, she's way more this, like, Frank shit doesn't run in the family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the doctor's there. He's like, "The police are here to talk to you, and here's your box." I don't know what she did
He had it in his
illegal.
pocket, yeah. Well, she just
It's like,
wanted she's
"Maybe
like,
this."
"I need a phone, I need to, like, call my dad," and he's like, "We're gonna talk first. Here's your box, bye," and then,
Yeah.
like, kinda just leaves.
So she, of course, starts fussing with it.
Yeah.
Little purple spermies come out of it at first. She's
Mhm.
like solving it a little by little. Then it clicks together. Electricity comes.
Yeah.
There's a crack in the wall in the hospital door that like opens up, which
Yeah.
is so cool.
Yeah. It looks great.
And then it reveals like this kind of like ancient looking hallway, and you hear this baby crying at the back of it. And of
Yeah.
course, you got to go walk and see what's happening. I would.
Yeah.
People are always like, "Don't go there." If a door,
It's the
you
the
gotta see
whole
what's
thing
hap
of the movie is, like, it's compelling you to do it. It's, like,
Yeah,
so seductive that even though it's scary, you're drawn to do it. And it's the same yeah, I'm sure it's like sexuality. I'm sure it's the
yeah,
same thing where it's, like, a thing that can feel, like, not, like, violent necessarily, but, like, something that's a little scary. And
yeah,
then she's has must go there.
yeah.
And it's,
So
like,
sh
not even just sexual, it's, like, just drawing you at all,
yeah,
I think.
I agree.
Yeah. So she
Yeah.
keeps walking down the
She walks down
hall,
the hall, then kind of towards the back of it, we see this silhouette of something.
almost like a person,
It
you
comes
think at
into the
first.
light. It's like a baby at the bottom with teeth that are really sharp, a big baby head,
I think it's like a
but
scorpion.
he has a scorpion
He's
tail,
got a scorpion tail coming over, and then
and he has
his arms are flapping down at the bottom, and then his, like, legs or, like, back arms are grasping onto the either end of the hallway, taking up the whole hallway, and it's coming at her
he's
like this.
disgusting. He's a
It's
nightmare.
incredible. It's really cool.
And she obviously jets the other way. She freaks
This
out.
creature is called the Engineer. I have no idea
I
why.
would have called him baby scorpion
I wrote scorpion,
with
yeah.
sharp teeth.
Baby scorpion with sharp teeth. Maybe that's why they for the credits, they needed to shorten it.
But my friends call me the
But my
engineer.
brother,
So he chases her. She
yeah,
manages to get back in the room, but she's not safe.
yeah.
The bricks in the walls turn like neon yellow
Well,
and
she picks up the
glow.
box again. It's
Yeah.
like she is I don't know. The wall's closed, but then she picks up
Maybe
the
she
box
wants to
again.
turn it off.
I guess so. She's like, "There's gotta be an off switch here."
Fog comes. Then there's some chattering.
The tiles are shining. There's a saline solution, like, IV drip, and
Oh,
that
yes.
turns all red like, fills with
The
blood.
blood goes backwards,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That was
instead of
fun.
go that was very fun.
Yeah. Oh, and the lights shatter
The
and stuff like that.
chatterer is
Yeah.
the first Cenobite to appear. He chatters right up to her, sticks his little fingers in
Oh,
her
yeah, that's the
mouth.
first thing he
They
does.
love sticking fingers
Yeah,
in her
yeah.
mouth. I guess it's very like a babies do that?
I think it's a sexual thing,
Oh,
if I
okay.
had to guess.
Well, babies
When
are
the
little
chatterer
pervs.
does it, I think,
Yeah,
I don't know if it's like, "Hi, little baby."
then, we see, Lady Cenobite, she's just kinda over in the corner like, "Hi." She
Yeah.
doesn't ever really do that much.
She talks,
Yeah.
but she's, I think yeah, she
Same
talks.
with Butterball. They're just
Butterball
kind
doesn't
of
say anything.
yeah,
He's just
there.
like
Then Pinhead shows up,
yeah,
and he is so fucking
so cool.
incredible. So I heard that at the time when they were creating this character, that like Freddy was really big, and the studio was giving Clive notes to either have Pinball be
Pinhead.
Pinball. Pinhead be
Pinball wizard.
be either more of like a wisecracker
Yeah.
or just completely silent, like a
Like
Jason or
Jason.
Mike Myers. And Clyde Barker was like, no.
Yeah.
And thank God he did, because this little monologue, everything he says in this scene in the hospital is the best fucking thing you've ever heard.
Yeah.
He's so like dramatic, and it's so like elegant and but scary. I wrote down
Yeah.
the box, you opened it, we came, now you must come with us. Taste our pleasures. That was like, you are so extra,
Yeah.
Pinhead. Oh, she's freaking out. He's like, no tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.
We say that on a regular basis, I would say.
Oh, so when he describes his job, she's like, who are you?
His job.
My
job.
What do you do for
My
work?
business card.
Pinhead. Explorers in the further regions of experience, demons to some, angels to others. What do you think they are?
Um, yeah, I guess they're like just they're big walking metaphors, I guess. They're
I don't think they're trying to do bad. I think that
I
they're
think in
doing
their
their
mind
thing.
they're neutral because
So they just torture, to explain them further. They kind of like have been tortured and torture others to the extent of like you're beyond pleasure or pain. Like it
yeah,
is just, or it's like another level of pleasure that just couldn't be reached
it's just
otherwise.
so extreme.
Yeah.
It's the most extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah, of physical experience,
Yeah.
and that
I'm
is
also saying
pain.
I love this, but I like need a seat cushion when I sit down.
I'm
I
s-
have a blanket on.
I'm so scared of
I don't like
pain in
that
any
it's
way.
too hot or too
Yeah,
cold.
yeah,
I would be a terrible subject,
yeah,
but I appreciate them as artists and the work that they do. We have such sights to show
yeah.
you.
And then, does she say this here where she's like, "Go to hell," and then, or maybe that's later?
No, no, no. At this point, she's like, wait a minute. My uncle Frank had this box, like he's out, I've met him, and they're like, no, no one has escaped, no one can escape us. And she's like, he most certainly did, he's in the attic, I'll take you to him, then we can do a little soul swap, you do his instead of mine. Like
Yeah,
I this isn't my box, I didn't do this on purpose.
yeah,
um Back at the house, and it's kind of implied, yeah, if you open the box, it's like you wanted this, even if then you're protesting and protesting once they start doing it, that basically you were compelled towards this.
yeah. For some reason,
Yeah.
curiosity.
Yeah. Back at the house, Julie is freaking out because now they're kind of found out.
Oh well, right before that, the Steve comes to the hospital to like check on Kirsty, and Kirsty's gone. Like, there's no evidence of anybody being in the room, and the nurse was like, "Oh my god, she was right here." And so now Steve knows that she's gone and
Yeah.
is presumably going to go look for her.
Um, Julie is freaking out.
Yeah,
Larry comes home, and she's like, all right, kind of like, I got something upstairs to show you.
yeah.
Like, come check it out.
And up to this point, she's been like hesitant to give Larry to Frank to eat. She's been getting these other guys kind of to spare
Yeah, in the
Larry, I
next
think.
scene, it's almost implied like Frank, when Julia and Larry are like hooking up, that Frank's gonna kill him, and she's like, no, no, no. Also because it's like, spare him. I'm not ready to
Yeah,
go that far with this.
yeah,
But now I think she's just like, what other choice do we have? Your daughter knows, you're gonna know.
mhm,
Time for you to get sucked
yeah,
up by your brother. So she brings him upstairs. We don't see what happened. Kirsty comes home. She's looking for her dad frantically.
yeah,
Julie's like, I'll take you to him. Goes up to the room. Uh, Frank, or no,
yeah.
Larry, the dad, has like a line of blood like around his forehead and
Yeah.
clearly
I wrote
something's
Turkish
up.
hair transplant. I wrote
Larry's just had a Turkish hair transplant.
yeah.
He's like, I know what's up. Everything's fine. I know Frank was in the attic, but we took care of it.
Mhm.
Um, but Julia's like, or Kirsty's like, no, I have to see it. I have to know that he's really gone for sure. So
Yeah.
Julia takes her up to the attic, shuts the door. The Cenobites show up, and she sees on the attic floor, there's just carcass of like bloody figure who she is assuming is is her
Frank at
Uncle Frank.
first.
Yeah, because they said they took care of him.
Yeah.
But in the bedroom, Larry, the dad, is like poking his eyeball and checking out his like kind of Men in Black
just put
style
his own
skin.
eye.
Like,
Yeah.
really, yeah, you're new to this body.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Frank is inside or using Larry's skin as
Yeah.
his own now
Yeah.
and portraying himself to be someone he is not.
Yeah. And then bells are like tolling and the Cenobites are looking down at the body who is Larry, we know is Larry, and the Cenobites are like, pay up.
Yeah, no, they say, we want the guy who did this. And so
Oh.
she thinks, oh no, they want my dad. You can't have him.
Yeah.
She goes run back to help the dad.
Julia tries to stop her.
Yeah.
And then Dad Frank is like, what's the matter? Stay with us.
Come to daddy.
Come to daddy.
And then she's
And then
like,
she's
oh
like,
no, it's his
Frank.
catchphrase.
Yeah. Yeah, you might as well have flipped open a knife, buddy, because now I can tell it's you.
He does.
Yeah, he does.
Then he flip open a knife, goes towards Kirsty and Julia, but instead of stabbing Kirsty, he stabs Julia,
and
killing
she says,
her.
not me.
Yeah. He's done with her. She's done all
Yeah.
that she's going to do to help, and he has no more interest in her anymore.
Yeah. Nothing personal, babe.
Yeah,
is what he
nothing
says.
personal, baby.
Incredible.
This part was devastating.
Yeah.
Again, I know she's supposed to be the villain, but my heart, I just love Julia. She got married to the wrong person. She had a little bit more zest for life, and she wanted to be out there, maybe felt stuck.
Yeah, and I guess Frank just put it on her so good that it
Frank gave
scrambled
it to
her brain.
so good, messed up her brain.
Scrambled her up.
But in another life, I think she could have been a high-powered bitch somewhere. And I would love that. So Frank, Julia is dead.
And she looks like soul sucked immediately. Like I think Frank is
Taking her essence.
Kills people, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's still doing that.
He's chasing Kirsty. She hides, but she picks the worst spot in the house because behind her that a dead body from assuming just one that Frank ate from earlier.
Yeah, one of the
falls on top
like
of her.
a husk of a guy.
Full of maggots comes out. That's a no.
I would be found in that moment.
I would be like, come suck my soul. I'm all done living.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I hate maggots.
Yeah.
I love that anyone loves
I think they're
them,
delicious.
but they really make me sick.
Yeah, they're nasty.
So then she runs up to the attic.
She doesn't scream. She's cool as a cucumber, but she's kind of been like that the whole movie.
Yeah.
Which I think is like believable.
Yeah.
You know, she's not like
she's a smart gal.
Yeah.
Runs up to the attic. Frank follows her, and this is kind of his big demise. He's still in his Larry form, which he'll have now, but he gives his villain speech to her like he's about to offer, and he refers to himself as Frank. So the Cenobites show up. You've given yourself up. Frank realized he tricked her, and he's like, oh, you bitch. What does he say?
Well, first he says, don't mourn him, referring to Larry. Don't mourn him. He was dead long before we ever touched him. And it's like, come on.
Oh, I kind of agree.
Okay. Like, we don't sit around and just watch TV like Larry and we're like, one time I got stabbed by a nail. That's like what Larry is your entry point.
I'm not, Julia.
Sorry.
So this is self-hatred.
Oh, sorry.
No, you don't have to be sorry. You're right.
Yeah. But Frank is here. Frank is here, your dear old Uncle Frank.
Oh, he said, you set me up, bitch.
What the hell is that? Yeah, the Cenobites show up. I was saying to Jess, I was like, this is the only movie where you cheer. Well, I guess you probably do.
When the bad guys come.
You cheer when the bad guys come because they're here to dispense justice at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So they hook him.
Yeah.
Hooks everywhere. Every inch of his body.
The pain pillar starts turning.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Pulling them all different directions. They've got like 10 on his face that are just pulling his face apart. He's looking directly at Kirsty during all this. Pinhead's even like, you gotta go. You shouldn't be seeing this. I'm a fucking
Hey, you gotta pay for this ticket.
Yeah. He, Frank, as they're pulling his face and his whole body apart, and he's kind of, I guess, being like crucified-ish. His arms are like out.
He's almost being like drawn and quartered. Like he's being like ripped apart at the seams.
He looks at her, licks his lips like a full all around the mouth, then says Jesus wept, then is pulled one final time and explodes.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
That is so
It's fucking nuts. It's
nasty.
nasty. This movie's nasty. And then, yeah, Kirsty runs,
In theory, it should be
away.
all done. The deal should be because she said a soul first, I'm gonna get him you and then I'm out of this.
Yeah.
She goes to leave though. This is one part I'm not Team Cenobite because they go back on their word.
They try
They're
to get
like,
her. They
they
try, the Vagina grabs her and is like, wait a minute."
yeah, don't you want to do this freaky shit
Yeah.
with us?
Well, she runs into a room and then a woman chained to the bed, I guess Julia, holds the puzzle box.
Yeah.
And, yeah, Pinhead's like, "Oh, we have such sights to show you." Oh, yeah, and that's when she says, she, like, has the puzzle box and she's gonna solve it and, like, send them back to wherever they came from, basically, and they're like, "No, don't do that." She says, "Go to hell," and
Which
then
they would love.
yeah,
That'd be like saying good morning to
and
them.
then I don't know if it was here or if it was earlier, but she, like, tells them to go to hell at one point, and Vagina says, "We can't, not yet," or something like that, where she's like,
Samantha Jones.
"Yeah, you're not, yeah." Well, that's my delivery. She's a little more scary.
She's the Samantha.
Of the 4 Cenobites, who's who?
um,
Carrie's Pinhead.
yeah.
Um,
Miranda is Butter.
Miranda's Butterball.
Yeah. Oh wait, no, the Chatterer. Who would be Charlotte?
Charlotte would be the Chatterer,
Yeah.
for sure, and then Vagina would be, um
Do-do-do-do,
yeah,
do-do-do-do-do.
I'm glad we solved that.
I love that.
Yeah.
So she is trying to escape. Oh, there's one point there's like a veil over and a figure's coming, which I'm assuming alludes to like the wedding dress, wedding day thing,
Yeah.
like this veiled figure. But it's just like the house is kind of shaking and falling apart now, and a curtain fell. It comes up, it's the Chatterer, Chatter
Yeah.
Bride. So I guess really in a Charlotte move because she got married twice on the show.
Yeah, exactly.
And coming at her every corner. Kirsty turns, there's one of them there.
Yeah.
But she kind
She
of like
keeps solving
defeats
it.
them with this part I think is maybe the weakest, or I just don't get. She's just like spinning the box and they're like, oh, like it hurts.
She's sending them back to their plane
No,
of
but it's kind of
existence.
like
I think
it's like a bop it. Like
I think
she's
it's like her intention.
yeah.
It's all about like your intention of like whether you're trying like her intention is to send them back.
Yeah.
And so she's solving it and it's sending them back.
Yeah.
And that's enough for me.
As she's beating them up with the box, bam, 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 Sig guy shows up. She says, "Hey, Steve." Then we're like, "Oh,
Steve, yeah.
Steve." Everyone in every movie should say, "Hello, my name is Steve.
I am 31 years
I'm
old.
31 years old. I'm a chiropractor.
Yeah.
Let's
Get it on.
let's get it on." He comes and helps.
Yeah.
Giant baby scorpion comes back,
Yeah.
but she just bops it at him.
Yeah,
Good
she
to go.
solves it.
House is burning down.
Butterball shows up behind Steve.
Yeah.
And then she
just does the box.
She does the box.
It's fun to see like the whole house falling apart, but it is a little like she just
Oh wait,
twists
so
it.
when the engineer shows up, they open the door to go leave.
Yeah.
And then the engineer shows up and Steve tries to stab it with a bottle and immediately it sends Steve flying away.
Yeah, it's like I'm a giant scorpion.
Yeah,
baby,
you idiot.
fucking idiot.
Oh, you think baby wants his bottle?
She twists it enough to where the house is destroyed. If she
Yeah.
wins, saves the day. She takes the box, the lament configuration, throws it in a fire.
Yeah.
You think end of movie. Okay.
Well, also like at this point, they're both kind of just like they're barely reacting, I think,
Yeah.
in a way that's almost like I guess it's too weird and crazy.
yeah.
But yeah, they're running out of the house. Okay, sorry, wait.
Oh no, you're good.
Yeah.
Throws it into the fire. End of movie credits, right?
Yeah.
Wrong. A
Wrong.
figure comes walking up to the house. It's the unhoused man, who, again, a million times watching this, forgot that this person existed. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, for a second, I was like, are they even going to tie in what that guy to do with anything? He puts his hand into the fire, grabs the box. His body gets set on
Engulfed
fire.
in flame.
They're just watching, like, oh my God.
Yeah.
He becomes a skeleton dragon.
With the horns coming out of the eyes. I thought that was
Takes the
cool.
box and flies
Flies away
into the distance.
into the sky.
We see
They
the
watch him go.
box, them watching him. Then the box is on the table that we bury at the start.
Yeah.
We're there. The man
The
It's
same
still there,
guy,
the
it's a
same
book
guy
ending.
with a different guy. Instead of Mr. Cotton, it's a guy that we don't know.
Yeah,
And the man who is giving the box away is, "What is your pleasure?"
yeah,
And that's the end
and
of the
that's the end of the
movie.
movie. Isn't that nice?
Wow, isn't that
It's such a
beautiful?
good movie, it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was watching this interview with Clive Barker afterwards, and he had was in a sleeveless shirt and smoking a giant cigar, like, really casually during the thing. But he was talking about yeah, he just seems like a really sincere artist who's like, "I have these ideas and I choose different mediums." So that's the hardest part is, like, trying to figure out, is this a movie? Is this a comic? Is this a painting? And then I get this idea out. They showed his drawings and they were really cool.
Yeah, and
And
they
he
look
did
like
the
what
visual
is
effects in
yeah.
the movie. He did, like, the sparks and, like, the, like, little spermy energy that was coming out of the box.
He's incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
I love
awesome.
him. Um, so what would you rate this as far as we'll do scariness
Yeah.
and then also just overall as a film.
Scariness, as an adult now, scariness, I mean, there were parts that
As a
I
kid
was, like,
scariness, it was 10
off the
out of
charts.
10.
Yeah.
It was not suitable for anyone to
Yeah,
watch.
yeah. At this point, I'm not very scared of it. I guess the scariest part is, like, the idea of getting, like, catfished at a bar and then taken somewhere and getting hit in the head with a hammer. That's kinda
Oh, yeah,
scary.
yeah. Or
Um,
like the visceral of like hooks and things or maggots. Like there are things that are kind of
they're
disgusting. You're more like
disgusting.
wincing, like, ooh. But I almost find that it is like the box itself where I'm kind of so intrigued by it. I'm like, this is so much like nothing I've ever seen. It's so weird. It's
Yeah,
so like just this, it feels like familiar, but so distant from anything all at
yeah.
the same time that I find it more just like I am drawn to it.
So you're scared of your own, yeah.
I guess
That's what
so.
it is. I think scariness, I would give it, like, a 4 or 5 out of 10, I guess, where it's,
Yeah,
like, on the lower end for me now. But as a far as a good movie, I think it's a 10 out of 10 movie, I think it's great. I think
absolutely.
it still looks good and is effective, and to say it's not scary is not to say that it's not an excellent movie.
So many great lines, so many beautiful imagery,
Yeah,
uh, awesome performances,
yeah,
just across the board. It's so good.
yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
Same
it
for
a
you, what do
good
you think?
date movie?
Is it a good date? Well, with you, because 'cause we're like, oh, pain and pleasure,
With
indivisible, with
liberty
liberty
and
and justice
justice
for
for
all.
all.
So, yeah, with you, yeah. I guess if you gotta find somebody to match your freak, and
Somebody better.
somebody better do it. And yeah, so I guess so, yeah. If you like it, for me, yeah, it's a good date movie.
I think so too. You can cuddle up.
Gives you something to talk about.
Might get you horned up.
Might get you horned up.
Yeah.
Might be like, what do you think about kinks and stuff like that, I guess, if you're, you know, I don't know. It's got all kinds of crazy shit in it.
Well,
It's
this is
great.
a wonderful movie date.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here and thank you all for watching and listening. We'll be, like we said earlier, coming out with more for the month of October and then maybe switching up the genres months ahead
Yeah.
if people want that. And we'll have some like guests and friends and comedians come on too, and we'll have little dates with them and watch some
Yeah.
of their favorite movies. So, yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll be putting out some more soon.
Yeah, yeah. Bye.
Bye.